For example, I remember the first time I had a Mahler symphony all the way through was Mahler 3 in Sydney Opera House Concert Hall, and I'd never been to a Mahler symphony all the way through before, and I was amazed at the way he just kept me not just interested but moved for the entire duration of the piece. A simple way in which one does it, Beethoven, you see, I've just been doing this. Now, a good composer is somebody who knows what to do next. What do you do there? That's called a half close there. So I'll do the end of it and then show you what he does, brings in the orchestra. Slightly different from what has happened before, and in a different key. And so immediately you're thinking new things, and you're going with him in a different way. Still with the same, still clearly the same piece, because we've got 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, all the same 1, 2, 3, 4. Why don't you go? But going in a different direction. Yeah. Fantastic. And then if he managed to, and then very soon that reaches the beautiful tune. And that is, I think of that as a beautiful tune because but there are two minor chords. There's minor and that minor. Normally it would be. But he says, oh no. Why is that interesting? Why is it good? Don't know. You know, there are so many unknowns that a genius will be able to find it out. And demonstrate them to us. Now, whether ugly music can do that, yes, sad music does it because it taps into our sadness, taps into the sad part of our psyche, and says, "Come along, come for a walk, sad part of psyche. We'll exercise you, and in exercising you, you will somehow catharsis will have operated." And I don't know, and I'd like to ask your professor because I think he'd have some lovely ideas about that. Yeah. But what about actual ugly music? First of all, who decides it's ugly, of course. And I would say, actually, if I found a bit of music ugly, I'm not going to like it. I'd like to just state that. I think that's a simple and straightforward equation for me. I can't think of any ugly music which I've then found moving.
A few weeks ago.
What about things like this? Stravinsky, Rite of Spring, or is it? No, it's that, I think. It's that chord with this chord at the same time. Bitonality, two different things. No, I think that has its effect. I don't think that's ugly. Yeah, but it'd be beautiful is slightly the wrong word, isn't it? Is it beautiful? It's captivating. It's engrossing.
Professor Zecchi actually did a lot of studies showing excerpts of music to people who are uneducated in music.
Yes.
And asking their opinion of what's ugly and what's not ugly. That's exactly the kind of thing they would have said is ugly. And
therefore not like it.
Exactly.
Right.
But not necessarily that it wouldn't be regarded as a wonderful contribution to music. That it's not
obviously
I don't even know that they would say that they didn't like it. Just that it was either a piece was either ugly or beautiful.
Yes. If it simply doesn't advance music, if it advances music, I'm not interested. Okay. Fine that it does. Someone's got to advance music, do different things and new things. But if it's actually interesting and musical and powerful.
A few weeks ago, KCL Choir, we did Victoria Requiem.
Okay.
And the motet right at the end. Urban Choir, I think it is.
Yeah.
Right on the last page, David Trendle said this is he said, "You're not meant to enjoy this. He said, this is ugly."
Really?
But he loved it. It's like, he loves it. He said it's beautiful, and you should have seen his face when he was conducting. He was so into it.
Really?
Yeah, and he said they aren't meant to enjoy this.
Well, don't tell David that I did the Victoria Requiem the other day and I didn't do that motet at the end.
Yeah.
So next time I do the Victoria Requiem, I will do that motet. And it's variable. It's not. My harp is turned to more. Versa est in luctum.
Oh, sorry, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Versa est in luctum. Well, I disagree with him. I don't think it is ugly. I think it's fabulous, and
it is. And
it
I
is.
think he thinks that as well. But
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yes, I understand that. I think words aren't quite accurate enough here. I don't think we've quite got the word to describe it.
yeah.
The depths which it taps. Victoria Requiem, I have to say, is I think that one of the most extreme examples of something which is simple and effective. It's quite difficult, quite easy. Are you a singer?
I'm not.
Well, when you sing it, it's not difficult, is it,
No.
to read and get right, and it's simply written with pretty simple harmonies, and counterpoint which just works beautifully, and it is just so beautifully put together that it's easy, and yet it's magnificently, overwhelmingly beautifully moving as a requiem, and requiem as well it is too. Sorry, I just interrupted you. Were about to say something.
Well, I was just going to bring up that this Professor Zecchi has done these studies and is trying to determine whether beauty or ugliness have a neural basis. So like we find it quite interesting that for you it's not necessarily ugly, but in his work he's actually finding that beauty and ugliness sort of
It
are
hits the same centres in your
Yes, yes, yes.
An ugly piece. The piece
as-
you think is ugly and the piece you think is beautiful.
But it's evaluated in different ways.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And however, I couldn't just say, okay, and expect you to be moved
Yeah, exactly.
because it's ugly and goes to the place which analyses it, says whether it's beautiful or ugly. So I would say, therefore, the word ugly used for versa est in luctum, my harp is turned to mourning, is the translation of that. In other words, I'm using my harp for mourning instead of for joy, and meaning that my harp, it's a kind of remarkable thing that a harp is used for, or a lute, luctum harp, I think. It's a remarkable thing that it's used for misery rather than, and that's the point of the text.
Of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, last thing. Unless you
Yes.
wanna-
Well, there's one quick thing about Schoenberg and dodecaphony. Do you know the 12 tone
Yeah.
and all
well,
that?
Actually, I was going to talk about that with them because that kind of comes into the mathematical.
Yes.
In a way, sort of
Okay.
the logical way of.
Okay, right, now then, let me just talk about Tallis and Bach for a minute. Tallis, unbelievably clever writer of counterpoint. In other words, knowing how to combine tunes, this with this, so two tunes going on at the same time, combining them, then another one, then another one, then another one, all added together, and still making harmony. In other words, this wouldn't be good. I'm combining tunes together, but they don't work harmonically. They don't make nice chords. So that the cleverness, and what we do, we call that vertical and horizontal. So vertically, it makes nice sounds because it works harmonically. Horizontally, we're talking about the tunes. So does it work vertically and horizontally? Brilliant people like Bach and Tallis and Bird and all manner of people are able to make it so that it works as a tune and as another tune and as another one and as another one, and also it works harmonically, vertically. So, and that's very clever. That's a genius who's able to do that. Now, if you just take 12 tone and arrange the 12 tones in various different ways and put them in a row and then combine them, I'm afraid I don't think you're being clever at all, because you're just having ideas for what, unless you have an end result in mind, the result of what happens. But if you just have a few tones here and a 12-tone thing here, and the row is in a different order here, and so what? You know, you might just as well write. But if it spells out something, some pattern vertically that our brains recognise, then we can say, and that's what happens with Bach writing fugues and with Tallis writing marvellous counterpoint. That's how it works. And so, and in the, is it called Five Piano Pieces, one of the earlier things that Schoenberg wrote, the one I like is where this is repeated. I think it's that. And there's all sorts of gubbins going on all around it, but out of it comes that. It's the only one I really think, oh, I rather like that, because it has a tonal centre. We come back to that, and whatever else happens all around it. Sorry, Schoenberg, I can't remember what it actually was, so I may be doing a terrible injustice. But yeah, no. But I think it's that. It's a third like that, coming in a kind of arbitrary rhythm and rather beguiling. And that has a sort of centre to it.
Yeah.
Here are 12 tones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then you start again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you can arrange them in any order you like. And the idea is that you go through all of them.
That's how serialism
each time.
works.
Yeah.
But you're saying
different combinations.
You're saying serialism, this 12-tone row method only worked when there was a combination that made something tonal.
For me, I'm afraid so, yes. Yeah. And also I'd say, well, hang on, you're not being that revolutionary, because we've already worked out this on the basis of that's the most consonant, that's the second most consonant, that's the third most consonant, that's the fourth most consonant, fifth, sixth, and gradually added things like that. If you're really going to be revolutionary, why not break that up into a different number than 12? Why not see what it sounds if it's 7? You know, 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or something, but they'd have to be tuned differently. And the great thing about Tallis, there's a wonderful piece, 7-part piece called Miserere Nostri, in which the top two, and it only goes on for 2 minutes, the top 2 soprano parts are in precise canon, the 4 bottom parts are in, there's a certain tune, and then they have the tune, he has the tune in augmentation, in augmentation, meaning it goes twice as slowly, then double augmentation in another part, and then in inversion in another part, so it goes upside down. And again, you could say to me, oh, very clever, but why does that work? Because it happens to make it so that every single chord is a concord as it goes through. All of it that goes through obeys the rules of harmony. You say, why should the ordinary person listening to it bother and mind whether it obeys the rules of harmony? The rules of harmony are not rules, they are observations. We've observed that the word rule is a bad word for harmony. We've observed what people like, and we've put it into our academic notebooks, what people like. So they're observations, they're not rules. We observe, oh, you like it when it does that, but you don't like it when it does that. Right. We then call it a rule. In my view, it should be called an observation. And we put them all together, and so writing all those different parts in double augmentation, in canon, and putting them all together, it still observes all those things. It still obeys all the observations that we've observed before people like.
Yeah.
That's why it's brilliant, unbelievable. Miserere Nostri of Tallis. Listen to it.
I know it, but we could
Oh, you do?
accepted it and put it in
Oh yes, I wouldn't even try and play it. It's
No
just,
music.
it's just
Yeah,
unbelievable.
it is, yeah.
There's one part which is unrelated to all the others, and the theory is that Bird put it in as a tribute to his teacher Tallis. Just added a part because they did that sort of thing in
Yeah.
those days.
Cool. Yeah, anything else? Good. Done.
Happy?
Happy.